Good morning, Advertising Week, New York. My name is Matt Steiner. The Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Walter Lippmann once said, "You cannot endow even the best machine with initiative. The jolliest steamroller will not plant flowers." I enjoy that quote because it clearly illustrates the distinct roles that machines and humans play. Technology needs human initiative. And in order for machines to be used responsibly and effectively, they need human input and oversight. The same is true of AI and the need for human collaboration to produce meaningful outputs of high quality. At Meta, we're committed to building products responsibly and with safety in mind for both our consumer products and our business products. Responsibility is important to us, as AI is transforming the ways that we work, and it's also providing people with new forms of expression and connection, thanks to the power of generative AI. My team is responsible for building infrastructure and AI to grow advertiser value through investments in performance, efficiency, reliability, and scalability of the infrastructure and AI systems that advertisers rely on. Driving towards better performance for advertisers and better experiences for people, Meta has invested tens of billions of dollars in data centers, in infrastructure, and in AI over the last decade. We are thrilled with the new capabilities that generative AI has unlocked for both businesses and for people. Today, I'm going to share with you some of how we think about building tools and features that advertisers can use to automate key tasks. And then my colleague, Tulika Jha, and clients from J.Crew Factory and Etsy will join the stage for a conversation about how AI is unlocking value for advertisers today. Almost half of the US population, or over 150 million people, have used an AI-powered voice assistant to complete an everyday task. In a PwC survey, respondents said AI assistants help them feel organized, informed, happy, confident, and smart. Those are the kinds of positive feelings that AI-powered tools can provide. And who doesn't want to feel organized, informed, and happy? Can I get a show of hands really quickly? Who has used a voice assistant either on your smartphone or on a standalone device? Oh, that's a lot of the room. OK. So two of the most frequently asked questions that we hear from advertisers are, how can I improve the return on my investment? And how can I make the most out of AI? These questions are really our focus, using AI to drive improved performance for advertisers and providing powerful tools to save advertisers time while more effectively reaching and connecting with the people who are interested in your products and services. The feedback that we receive from advertisers drives how we build and iterate on our AI products and on our systems. The potential for AI to drive better results at lower cost is just tremendous. And we want to partner with advertisers and agencies to make sure that we're building the tools that will benefit your teams and building responsibly. For well over a year, we've been investing to advance Meta's generative AI capabilities and release new features to help advertisers drive higher return on ad spend and make it easier and more efficient to build effective campaigns. Now, the holiday season's coming up. Imagine, fast approaching, you're not only worried about getting your family together to celebrate, to connect, and of course to eat, while your team at work is also in the thick of holiday shopping campaigns. You need to track multiple versions of creatives, customize messaging for different audiences, and drive traffic back to your storefronts to hit your sales targets. That's a lot to juggle, and we can help. While we haven't yet figured out how to use AI to fry a turkey, we have built a suite of AI tools that can help you reduce the amount of time manually setting up ad campaigns, identifying the best performing creatives, and driving better results than the manual alternative. You can try our Meta Advantage suite today. Save yourself some time at work so you have more time to focus on the things that matter most to you. Meta Advantage Suite is one of our AI advertising tools to maximize ad performance. Tons of advertisers have tested Advantage with great results. Businesses using Advantage Plus shopping campaigns are seeing a 32% increase in return on ad spend on average. In a few minutes, you'll hear from Jennifer Mayer, SVP of Marketing and E-commerce at J.Crew Factory, who will share her experience accelerating omni-channel growth for their business with AI-powered tools. In May, Meta introduced our AI Sandbox, which is a testing space for early versions of new ads AI tooling and features, including our generative AI-powered ad features. Since then, we've been testing these generative AI features with a small and diverse set of advertisers, including Publicis and Etsy. After hearing feedback from our partners and iterating on these tools in the AI Sandbox, I'm excited to share that we've launched our generative AI-powered ad creative features in Ads Manager. We're in the early days of understanding how advertisers use these tools within the context of Ads Manager, but we're excited for the potential of these tools to maximize productivity, customization, and performance for your ads. So let me talk a little bit about the features here. The first three generative AI features. First is image expansion. This will seamlessly adjust the images in your creative assets to fit different aspect ratios across multiple surfaces, like feed or reels, allowing advertisers to spend less time and resources repurposing creative assets and manually editing. Second, background generation creates multiple backgrounds to complement an advertiser's product images, allowing advertisers to tailor your creative assets for different audiences. Third, text variations. This will generate multiple variations of an ad text based on the original ad copy that you supply, highlighting the selling points of your products and services and giving them multiple text options to better reach different audiences. These features have been tailored to improve performance for ads on Meta's surfaces. We've already begun rolling out these features in Ads Manager and expect to have them released globally by next year. Now, many of you have been wondering how we plan to continue building on these tools and features, so I wanted to take a minute and share a little bit of our product vision. Our goal is to help advertisers save time and improve performance using our ad tools. The time savings will allow you to invest more on insights about what's working and develop new creative directions, as well as investing in longer-term strategic work. For example, if you understand that your customers prefer a modern design aesthetic, sustainability, and uplifting ad copy, our ad tools will make it easier for you to customize your ads at scale along those lines with just a few keystrokes. In order to achieve our long-term goals, we're going to have to work together, Meta, agencies, brands, and marketers, to iterate on the tooling and to provide feedback to improve the AI models that generate ads to work for you and resonate with your customers. We are hyper-focused on building AI features that help businesses save time and improve connection with people. At MetaConnect, we also announced that we're testing business AIs that will provide conversational experiences for customers who have straightforward questions about products and services, which will save your customer support team's time to allow them to spend time on the more complex questions that people have about your products and services. Our cross-disciplinary team's mission is to ensure that AI at Meta benefits people and society in a variety of critical ways. We are consulting and collaborating with outside experts across academia and industry, as well as regulators, on the responsible design and use of these systems, including engaging with all of you, our clients, to iterate and test these features to better meet your needs. To talk more about the value that AI can provide for advertisers and how clients are currently using our products, I'd like to welcome my colleague, Tulika Jha, and Director of Product and Marketing at Meta to the stage, along with Jennifer Mayer and Mike Jacobs. Please give them a round of applause.
Thank you, Matt. It's great. Hi everyone. My name is Tulika, and I lead the business and product marketing team at Meta. And the areas which I cover are signals and Gen AI. And here with me, to build on everything that Matt was talking about, I have Jennifer Mayer. She is the Senior VP of Marketing and E-commerce for J.Crew Factory. So along with leading all the marketing projects, which includes like 200 plus and growing stores, Jennifer leads all the marketing initiatives for that and e-commerce for J.Crew Factory. And we also have Mike Jacobs. He's the VP of Growth at Etsy. Mike is an award-winning performance and brand marketer, and he's responsible for both the seller and buyer side for Etsy Growth. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to talk about AI and things with you because both of your brands have been using AI solutions from very different angles with Meta, right? So J.Crew, for example, we have heard your beautiful case study while using our Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, which is an AI performance product which we have. And then Matt, on the other side, Mike, sorry, we know that Etsy was one of the early testers for AI Sandbox, which is our early, Matt was talking about, the Gen AI creative tool, which we are developing. So I can't be more excited to jump right into some of questions with you to get your ideas and how your companies are thinking about AI generally.
Great.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, there is a prevailing trend across industries that AI will transform and reinvent how businesses operate, including the need to radically shift the way how companies think about how work gets done. So how are you both thinking about AI with respect to your marketing and product teams, the impact of AI generally for that? So Mike, I would love to start with you first.
Sure, and I had to look some of this up because I didn't have it at my fingertips. But Etsy started its journey into ML in 2016, so we've been doing this for a while. Part of that being we have 100 million products now, right across the globe, without really what you'd call a standard taxonomy. So figuring out the best way to curate, to sort, to give search results around, it's been something that we've been, has been core to what we've been doing for a while. If there's any change that's happened recently, it's in the last few years we've had this idea to what we call democratize AI. It's that a lot of the tools used to sit with specific teams. I think we had an ML team right back in the day. Now it's more that we try to tool it that every product and development team has access to those tools, has it built in, has it there, where it's part of the regular way you develop products, rather than just being a specialty on the side. So that's really the only material change. It's been something that's been the core of what we've been trying to do for quite some time, and obviously some of the predictive AI work we were chatting about earlier.
And so it's fair to say Etsy has been doing it for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. Jennifer, what about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the applications of AI at J.Crew Factory has been Advantage Plus Shopping, or ASC, which we adopted last Q3 and has been a bit of a speed train. We, in our last incrementality study with you guys over at Meta, we had a 6 times return in in-store and online purchases from this particular campaign. And as Matt was saying, really taking manual programs and turning them into AI-driven programs with Meta. So we've been learning fast and moving as fast as we can and on this exciting growth trajectory. When I think about the impact internally, there's a couple different ways. I mean, one of them has been the speed at which we're testing and learning, and how that impacts the teams and really encourages them to test more. And I have an amazing team in performance and brand marketing, and we're really on board. We have lofty sales goals, and we're looking for those tools that are going to help us meet that and fast. So that's been really neat. it's fostering a test and learn culture internally, the more we see success, which is very cool as a leader in marketing. And then you really can't discount the impact on the creative teams, right? And how we're thinking about generating creative, of course, within our brand guidelines. We've been talking about that, that we represent 2 brands, and that's always at the forefront here. But really been exciting to use that, obviously at scale. We're not able to generate hundreds of variations that we're seeing a lot of the programs have success with now. And then lastly, we've been thinking about internal investments. It's been interesting internally. We've been talking about how we invest internally and respond to the fact that Advantage Plus shopping is working so well. So here, an example, just very hands-on, is our product imagery. So we're seeing in Advantage Plus shopping that actually product carousels are outperforming these kind of static, beautiful created ads. So how do we think about the fact that our product imagery, our PDP imagery, may be the first image that a prospect sees versus a beautiful editorial ad? Well, I think that's really interesting because that means we really need to elevate our game around even our PDP imagery. And styling and investment there is something we've actually reacted to now, just responding to how ASC has been working.
For sure. And the numbers you shared, 6 times?
6 times, yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
Music to our ears.
It certainly solves a lot of internal debate. We have 6 times the return. There's no debating that, right?
I hope everyone here is listening. That's a very impressive number. Thanks for sharing that. Are there any critical use cases, which comes to your mind with respect to AI for marketers? And Mike, again, I think I'll go with you first.
Sure, I mentioned it briefly, but what you might call the predictive side of AI, right? Campaign optimization. The stuff that you're probably already using and don't know yet, right? That is if you're involved in an auction somewhere, there's some version of it on both sides. If you're using any version of auto optimization. So that's definitely been something we've been talking about for a couple of years and trying to make sure we do right. I think the hard part of that is also, as much as you need to lean into the black boxes to some degree, figuring out those places where you keep your controls, you may be the only one that knows your margin or all of the touches across the journey, for instance. So that's one area we've spent a lot of time on. The other one becomes this creative side, right? And I'm going to take a breath there, right? Because obviously we're doing it with caution in the sense that to do this right, and then Jennifer was talking about this, to do it at scale, right, you need tools. The thing, though, is some have worked very hard on those single image campaigns and done beautiful work that does make a difference. It does matter. It's about hitting the right part of the journey. So we know we need to do the scale part. We know we need to do whether it's across 100 products, 1,000 products, 5 audiences, 100 million products. It goes all, right? It just becomes exponential, right? The number of situations you've got to get to. So how to responsibly scale these solutions across them and have elements of control. But that's certainly going to be one. So I'd say both on the optimization side, from a button push, from a bid side, let's say where you're going to put your media, to the what it looks like in a full funnel sense. I think that's the two sides for us.
Yeah, and creatives is coming, like Jennifer also brought it up, I think scaling that whole thing in a customized way, by the way. Right. I think that is the thing which both of you are getting at.
Yeah.
Jennifer, what about you?
Yeah, an exciting use case at J.Crew Factory is the customer growth path we're on and how AI has helped really acquire a customer at Factory, which is a value-seeking consumer. So at J.Crew Factory, we are the outlet arm of a well-known brand of J.Crew, and we really have an opportunity around awareness, letting folks know we have 200 stores and growing. We have we're actually one of only a handful of proprietary outlet websites and e-commerce sites at jcrewfactory.com. I don't know if they're in the room, but others might be Gap Factory or Coach Outlet. There's only a handful. So how do we let customers know we're there for them? We've really leaned into ASC to help us do that. In fact, at ASC driving performance with our meta campaigns, we're up 60% in net new customers year over year. That's just tremendous. Without ASC and the AI behind that, we would not be able to reach that scale of new consumers and let them know we're here for them. So that's really the use case that we're most excited about internally.
60%, another stat to remember. And these are really good numbers. I love hearing
I'm
these.
counting on my Meta partners to keep these stats up, right?
For sure, for sure. Earlier, Matt talked about how Meta is investing a lot in, adding more to our existing AI tools and building a lot of new tools as well. And the most important part there is doing it in collaboration with our partners and customers like yourself. Could you tell me a little bit more about your journey of collaboration with Meta? How has it been, especially with respect to AI, and what were the goals you guys set out in terms of measuring?
So for us, the journey started around, we were having a lot of, we'll call full funnel discussions, right? Brand versus performance. We were sort of joking around about this, that the distinction's sort of gone, right? And they're just language differences now. We need all media to perform, we just track it differently. It's one journey. And we started to have that version of the conversation with our Meta partners. And what does that mean for optimization? In particular, I use this phrase optimization proxies, like what are you trying to get, whether it's a consideration, a quality visit, something along the way. But we started to talk about what that means for creative, right? What does that mean for how it changes over the journey and where that goes? So the sandbox conversations, I think, were a natural extension of that convo, where we wanted to see, okay, well, what's there when it comes to scale and customization? What is the future going to look like with a hint towards 2-3 years from now that we start building towards? So we got asked to participate in the beta and trying some of the tools with our team.
Great. And no complaints so far. Well, we shouldn't go there in this conversation, but.
No, listen, it's early. You're learning. We're all learning. I think part of this is we're learning where it fits in, right? Ultimately, we have a fantastic brand team. We have fantastic creatives, and they've worked hard on building this brand in partnership with buyers, with sellers. And so accounting for that in the process. So even if the tools are perfect in a sense, figuring out where this fits within the way that you approach both brand health, the messaging you're trying to get across. It goes back to, I think it was one of the first points Matt made, but I also like the quote of like, AI is not going to take your job. Somebody using AI is going to take your job, right? But it sort of makes that point is we, as end users, have to learn how to do the programming of it, right? To tell it what to do, what the inputs are. I don't think we have that down yet. So that's the place when I say learning on both sides. Sure, the tools will get more important, but figuring out how to get it so we think creatively with the tool.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Jennifer.
Yeah, I love that. Someone using AI is going to take your job. That's great. To answer about how the relationship with Meta began with using the AI tools has really been, we have great partners on the Meta team and really sharing our deep detail about our goals and objectives for e-commerce, for our store growth. And then the Meta team coming back to us to say, here's some betas you can participate in, here's where we see opportunity. So that relationship is very strong and been really helpful. I mean, the next wave for us is really brick and mortar as we are developing a really fast expansion of stores. And so I'm looking for Meta and even the how we actually are going to prove out incremental return in stores from our digital advertising with Meta. So that's the next wave that we're looking for them. But really, it started by testing and learning. And it's hard. We're all accountable to sales at the end of the day. So how do you take a portion of your programs that were manual, and by the way, they were working, and say, OK, this portion's going to now go to an AI-driven campaign. When and how, and how risk-averse am I? We started small, and then we just moved very fast when we saw the results.
Yeah, and on that point, it happens all the time that when something new is in the market, it takes some time for us to convince the team to get on board with the idea. So what did you do to get them on board for Advantage Plus product?
Yeah, I have an amazing team who see these opportunities, an amazing agency we partner with, Kepler, and saying this feels like the right time. It feels like something that could really, it was the scale. Like we cannot achieve this scale unless we are applying AI. And That's what we've been talking a lot about. It's really comes down to the scale and the speed. So internally, we had old ways of working that were we had ideas that this is the audience we're going to reach, and it has to be this audience and not this audience. And you can imagine those debates we have internally when you have a brand, a premier brand in J.Crew and an outlet brand in Factory. We have all those fun discussions about this audience and not this audience and who's going to cannibalize who. And we've really, it's a journey, but we really began to embrace AI to say, you know what, AI and machine learning is going to reach the right customer at the right time with the right product. And are we perfect internally about thinking that way? But we've come a long way in the last 6 months, and that's exciting.
Yeah, right customer, right product, right targeting. I know there are a lot of folks here. These are some ideas about how to get your teams on board in trying out these AI performance solutions like Advantage AI. I'm going to switch gears a little bit here, and Mike, more for you. We talked about, and Matt talked about the AI sandbox. And our goal here is to make sure that we build our AI features in collaboration with the industry. We want to get the best product which helps you save time, use your time in the best possible way, get the highest ROI. So how did you and your team get convinced about testing AI sandbox?
I mean, we're uber curious, so it starts with that. Like if there's some new button to push, you want to push the button, right? So we're always going to look at the thing. Plus, if you don't, then somebody's like, why didn't you push that button? Why didn't you try the thing? So one is we're just generally curious, we want to learn, but also being very ML, AI forward, at least we think so. We wanted to understand what was there. Probably the friction that one might expect is, right, saying, well, how does this match up with the brand, right? How does that do that? What we did for this experiment is nothing came right from the sandbox and was put into campaigns. We used it as a learning tool. We used it as a conversational tool. We used it to build, believe it or not, better briefs for our creative team. Understanding what the potential is out there is how we use it. Now, that's not a scalable process, obviously, but it is that thing we talked about in terms of teaching us, right, what we can do here. So I think folks were on board because it wasn't a risk in that sense. It was like, let's see what this looks like. Should this change the way that we do the next thing and the next thing when we do our next shoot? And eventually those two things come together. But that's sort of how, is that we didn't this wasn't a jump in with both feet. It was a test, it was a learn, understand what's out there. And then yes, when you get some funny results back, it's perfectly okay because you start to understand how to use the technology better. Maybe it's on you a little bit too. But from a development standpoint, thinking about how long-term, how do we get brand standards into it? What is the way that we would match up, I'm oversimplifying, but the right background? What backgrounds are brand aligned, all of that? Figuring that out. How does the imprint of my brand change the output versus maybe the imprint of your brand? How would it look different? Like, I used to joke that if you go to the end of the spectrum and you just optimize to the user behavior, you're going to just put a bunch of puppies in everything, right? So where is the control for us? Where is in terms of a standard? That's the place I think we'll learn together, but we went in carefully on this one.
Yeah, and this feedback about basically customized outputs for brands, like how we are able to represent their style, their voice. Right. Like you just said, it's different, for different brands, and how to get there. And it's a journey. And we'll get there, and it can't happen without collaboration and feedback from our customers like yourself. So this was very helpful. Thank you so much, both of you. I can't believe it's already the end of the time, but I hope the folks here, you got some good ideas about how to bring your team on board. What are some of the amazing stats, 60% increase in new users. I love that. I love those stats. So thank you so much for your time. This was very, very helpful. And one quick thing, there'll be a QR code behind the screen there. So at Meta, we truly believe that feedback is a gift. So we would love to hear feedback about this session from you all. Thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thank you.